But some people do not have that excuse. They have fully formed brains with executive function. They just choose to use that decision-making ability very, very poorly. On Thursday, a suspended Wisconsin judge was convicted of obstructing the immigration enforcement agents of ICE while they were attempting to make a lawful arrest of an illegal at a Milwaukee courthouse who was there to face charges for 3 counts of battery domestic abuse. So clearly, a very high-quality person that you should be sticking your neck out for. Aren't you glad you wasted your one shot to fight the power for this dude instead of someone who maybe actually deserved it? This same guy had also previously been deported in 2013 and apparently could not take a hint. Now the judge who broke the law to help him escape has been convicted in a court of law. Yes, that is correct. Just because judges have been entrusted to apply the laws to individual cases, that does not mean that they are above the laws and can break them. On the contrary, they will face the exact same consequences for breaking the law as anyone else does, because contrary to the beliefs of many of these judges, they are not actually special. A jury agreed with that sentiment and found Hannah Dugan guilty of felony obstruction for trying to help a Mexican illegal immigrant evade immigration authorities back in April. Here's what happened. After ICE politely agreed to wait until this illegal's hearing was over so that he got justice in a court of law, Judge Hannah Dugan directed them to do so in the chief judge's chambers. She then hurried back to the courtroom and instructed Flores Ruiz to flee through the jury door that led to a non-public area of the courthouse. ICE agents later tracked Flores Ruiz down outside of the building and arrested him anyway, after a foot chase. Hannah Dugan was found not guilty of a secondary misdemeanor charge for concealing a wanted person, which is a form of aiding and abetting a criminal. The U.S. Attorney, Brad Schimmel, said this was necessary to hold Judge Dugan accountable because of the actions she took. There's not a political aspect to it. Hannah Dugan's legal team plans to try to overturn her conviction, but in the meantime, she could face more than 5 years in prison at her sentencing, and she has already been suspended from the bench. And I would just like to add that a judge should be held to the very highest standards, given that it is their duty to set the example of respecting the law. So, if Hannah Dugan's fellow judge shows her any kind of special favoritism because of their shared profession, by giving her a lenient sentence, instead of living up to the required standard that they issue blind, impartial justice, then that judge's name is going to be called out several times on this podcast as well, because the public has a right to know who is making these decisions so that we can hold them and the people who appoint them accountable at the ballot boxes. In the meantime, the Deputy Attorney General, Todd Blanche, validated this conviction, saying former Wisconsin State Judge Hannah Dugan betrayed her oath and the people she served when she obstructed federal law enforcement during an immigration enforcement operation. Today, a jury of her peers found her guilty and sent a clear message. The American people respect law and order. Nobody is above the law. This department will not tolerate obstruction, will enforce federal immigration law, and will hold criminals to account, even those who wear robes.